Shalom. Greeting to you all. We would like to welcome the Palestinian representative, and we appreciate the effort to attending this negotiation meeting. And also we would like to thank you in effort that we can meet and perhaps we can solve this conflict between us and achieve the resolution and with a win-win situation and agree. How about, shall we begin? To begin with, we would like to start this negotiation with a brief and a small insight of our background regarding to this issue, which include the thing that we want to achieve and we want to reach today. Since the independent war in 1947, Israel's security and safety are at risk with the insecurity of our citizens and our infrastructures that we value greatly. Furthermore, in order to protect things during a war and other disputes with previously an Arab nation, Israeli citizens are at risk in maintaining their safety and security. Effect from the war was making us the country that stand alone in many aspects in security while we are being threatened widely. So, after the end of the Independence Day in 1949, we will still struggling with the discrimination of opposition states like Arab states that always monitor us on our vulnerability in order to win the hearts of Muslim country. During this war, the casualty of our people will massively impact the nation with low economic influences, insufficient budget, declining of our security system, which previously protected and prosper our people. We lost almost everything. Since then, there are many wars that inflicted to us. Israeli try to involve in, and we do what we must to do to protect our people. We sometimes brought to the corner of our limits, such as we try to defend ourselves versus the opposition, which was the four Arab League, including the Palestinian. However, we managed to win and barely stand on our foot. Right now, we are strongly in capacity of military capabilities and greatly been supported by many others, but we still insecure in context of our citizen safety. Moreover, this dispute between us needs to end soon or later. Therefore, we would like to suggest several significant solutions within the context of civilians, social, budget, and others. Thus, this negotiation needs to fill up with several fruitful information, and we would like to hear the opposition suggestion, sheets, and hopes. This may benefit both of states in order to push the diplomacy as our best solution in conflict management.
In general, the conflict between Israel and Palestinian is continuing since the 21st century due to territory, religion, and national interests. Okay, however, one of the veto powers, such as the United States of America, was the first country who actually recognized Jerusalem as the official capital of Israel. Okay, this can be defined as Israel still a nation that can influence the entire international era. Means that Israel still have a say in what the international community are going to do. Okay, in the early of December 2019, it stated that 13 countries have not recognized Israel in the United Nations, 31 countries. As a citizen of a nation, we cannot deny that the political affair, whether internal or external, either way, it will directly affect or influence our daily lives. Whether we realize it or not, politics are the ruler which influence every individual. Therefore, the internal security should be concerned since surveillance is a constant factor over the Palestinian issue. Okay? Marked by volatile coalition government. In order to guarantee the safety of the citizens of Israel, government should ensure the security and political stability of a nation. When it comes to the growth of economy of the nation, a stable politics definitely will enhance more of our GDP, gross domestic products, which help government to generate incomes. Okay, the first political issue that Israel faced, number one, is the problem with Arab countries. Okay, as we all know, due to historical issues such as religion and territory, Israel and other Arab countries have been in an adverse since 1948. So literally 72 years we have fallen apart with our Arab neighbors. Therefore, Israel has made a great effort to reduce the hostility in the Middle East in the late of 1970. In the March of 26, 1979, Israel and Egypt signed a peace agreement. We actually signed a peace agreement with the Egyptian, which is the first agreement have been signed between Israel and Arab countries rather than after that, following by Jordan in 1994 and Mauritania in 1999. Okay. In 2010, the ship attack caused the deterioration of relations between Israel and Turkey, the ship of Mavi Marmara. Turkey announced a reduction in diplomatic relations with Israel in 2011. Okay. The relation between the two countries began to elevate when Israel recognized for this indecent accident in 2013. However, the two countries still have conversation and others matter that have not been solved. Okay. So we have a lot of problem with our Arab neighbors that still have to be solved. So in order of that, Israel have to increase the security and defense of our nation. Another issue has been addressed when the Iranian nuclear issue has escalated in 2011. The Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, okay, has continuously threatened to use force against Iran. However, a new round of negotiation that we're trying to do again on the Iranian nuclear issue was addressed when Iranian president came into power. A preliminary agreement was formed in November 2013 for a period of 6 months. In result, these negotiations are still facing uncertainty. The next issue we're going to talk about is our relation with the Palestinian. Okay, as we all know, Palestine has always been our neighbor and also our brothers and sisters. But we still have faced many uncertainties regarding security and defense. In September 1993, Israel and the Palestinian National Liberation Organization reached a consensus and signed a declaration of principles, became a turning point in the relationship between Israel and the Arab countries. According to the Gaza and Jericho Regional Agreement, signed in Cairo in 1994, Israel withdrew from Jericho and most of the Gaza area, including 6 villages in the West Bank. In 2000, Israel and the Palestinian National Liberation Organization, or PLO, conducted multiple rounds of negotiation to reach a permanent agreement to end the conflict. Moreover, under the framework which proposed by the United States and the United Nations, the European Union and Russia, the Israeli government can finally agree to a unilateral agreement plan in 2004 and also withdrew all the military forces in the West Bank.
Based on infrastructure, that is the loss of materials, I'm going to touch on the infrastructure. Shalom, the main cause of war and violence must be addressed in order to keep the world at peace and harmony. So what is violence? Violence can be defined in many ways. One of those provided by the World Health Organization, WHO, is the intentional use of physical force or violence, threatening or acts of violence against a group or community which causes or is likely to cause injury, death, psychological factors, growth inhibition, and neglect. So the impact of the conflict between Israel and Palestinians has left a negative impact on both sides politically, socially, and economically. We all know that their basic infrastructures has been damaged due to the conflict, such as schools, hospitals, police stations, and other daily essentials such as office and mostly the house chores. Okay, and most of these effects were all caused by the Islamic jihadis, which are the main front lines from the other side of the Palestinians. Furthermore, destruction of infrastructure such as houses and buildings triggered by a spike in violence following months of tensions has raised the risk of a fourth war in Gaza's besieged region since 2008. Authorities say 3 Israeli nationals were injured when a rocket hit a home in Sderot city near the Gaza Strip. The destruction of infrastructure has left an imminent impact on Israel and Palestine, as it has suffered huge losses due to the destruction of existing infrastructure. The war will result in losses to both sides due to the need to rebuild the infrastructure. The war also had a huge impact on Israel as it needed to build its existing infrastructure. This is when the media portrayals is important to also portray the damage of infrastructure from the Israeli side. Moving on, in the aspect of security and terrorism, Israel in the context of social. For some reasons, the citizens of a state that is strong militarily are so fearful when it comes to their own security. Insecurity is a psychological phenomenon that differs from the emotion of fear, notwithstanding the strong link between the two. Threats or dangers that trigger fear in us may reflect experiences occurring in the present. For example, if we see the remains of a bus that was blown up in a terror attack, often anxiety arises due to previous memories, as in the case of 8 air raid sirens, whose tone can begin to torment us as we equate them with the alert that signals an incoming missile. So how does one become insecure? When an individual identifies hazard in a given situation, he cognitively assesses his own ability to defend himself. He will feel insecurity, a psychological faith manifested alongside fear, calculated as a difficult time defending himself. Such beliefs are widespread in Israel. Nonetheless, we recognize that there are specific and cultural differences between various groups, which ensures that their views are acquired. Therefore, such values can be changed by reframing a condition and describing the origins. In Israeli Jewish society, insecurity convictions contribute to their members' unique sense of identity and to their sense of distinguishing themselves from other nations. In addition to other convictions about the ethnicity of the conflict, such as the justness of the cause, Palestinian legitimacy, or the splendor of the Jews, the belief in insecurity constitutes a way of seeing the world through Israelis and collecting new information. Societal uncertainty views do not only exist in the common cognitive repertoire. They are often reflected in literature, for example, in books and in films, and reflected in cultural structures and the educational system. In the fundamental sense, the social beliefs regarding security in Israel are based on past experience and data distributed through several channels and institutions, both in terms of the conflict with the Palestinians and in relation to other players in the region. All citizens of community are often subjected by financial, educational, and cultural structures to the common memory of the Jewish people. They come into touch with diverse philosophies and policy positions, of which defense is a central aspect, but often covers a variety of definitions and meanings. In a nutshell, in the context of social, civilians have been living in fear of bombs and missile rockets attacking their homes. If nothing has been done to conserve this matter, fear will always consume the civilians to bed every night. The media portrayals should also expose the insecurity of Israel civilians suffer from the attacks.
I, as a representative from the Israeli government in the Ministry of Security and Defense, would like to propose several terms that we want the Palestinians to accept. Okay. Number 1, we propose that Palestine have to lessen their ties and relations to Arab countries such as Jordan, Iraq, Syria, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Kuwait and Oman. This is so that they don't have the power or ties to conduct any further attacks towards Israeli citizens. We request that Palestine guarantee us not to attack, destroy or harass our vital infrastructure. For example, school, hospital, police stations, market or stores, resident or houses. Okay. In return, we Israel can ensure that we don't do the same towards your vital infrastructures. Number 3, the third one, we the Israeli government assure you that we will not in our next parliament sitting to decrease our budget for the necessities of our military and defense. This will ensure that you, the Palestinians, will no longer have to deal with the unrealistic vision that we are going to attack or harass you. Okay, we will decrease our military and services so that you can ensure that don't have the same thing toward us. Okay. Number 4, we the Israeli government will ensure that every conflict that happen between our two citizens will be handled, be settled and also be conducted through diplomacy and peace rather than war, violence and conflict. Okay. This is the hope of the Israeli government. We can ensure that by talking from the Israeli government, we want to ensure that peace is constructed toward our land, Palestine and also Israel, to ensure that we both have a future together so that nobody, also including our children and grandchildren, to face war and atrocities such as what happened before. So this is from the Ministry of Security and Defense of Israel. Toda Rabba, Shukran, thank you.
Aku tengah rekam.
Oh, tengah rekam. Yeah. Okay.
Take 1. Political issue. In general, the conflict between Israel and Palestine is continuing. Blah blah blah. Oh, it's time for solat. Okay. No boleh, no. Yes, towards innocent Israeli civilians, and also Hamas and also Fatah has been so long play an attack and trade game.
Stop, boleh. Big lah lu.
So, Hassan, okay. Nah, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict has been affected both government for so long. This conflict has affected both borders, Hamas and also Alah.
Aku tak tahu apa tu.
Okay.
Jap. Kau nampak tu. Ready? 3, 2.
Have the strength and support to conduct more attacks toward us. Number 2, we request that Palestine guarantee us not to attack, destroy or harass our vital infrastructure such as school, hospital, police station, market, stores, residence and also houses. Okay, houses kena buat balik lah tu.
Ulang balik yang tadi.